Chase is one of the most popular credit card issuers in the world, and they have some of the best credit cards. Now, when we get these cards, we want to get the biggest, best sign up offer we can. Today, we're going to look at an analysis of when Chase elevates their offers. My name is Sean, and I'm here with my co host.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin. Today on the Credit Card BS podcast, we're doing a deep dive into the historical patterns we've seen when Chase elevates their sign up offers above the standard amount. This is a very timely topic right now, given that the 100K offer for the Chase Sapphire Preferred is live. But we're going to delve really deep into this topic, look at past couple years of data, and kind of talk through how we want to think about when we want to time our applications based on this past data. So, as I mentioned, first, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Usually the standard offer is around 60,000 points, but elevated offers can range from 75K to sometimes 80K to like what we're seeing right now, 100K offers. Additionally, this is not the case for this time's offer, but I have seen that sometimes they will waive that first annual fee if you apply in branch, but not online. And I think that's an interesting calculus for me because if you're in two-player mode, the question is, would you rather get the referral bonus by applying online, or would you rather get the waived first annual fee by going in branch? Sean, did you have thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, right, you would just want to get the referral offer, assuming you can, because it's 15,000 points. Even if you cash that out, that's $150, which is more than what the annual fee waived would be, right? You're only saving 95 if you get it waived. So if you can get the referral with the higher offer, taking the referral's going to be mathematically the better bet. The only argument that you could potentially make against it is that if you were planning to already max out your referral or were able to max it out anyways, then of course there's a different calculus there because maybe you should go in branch to not use the referral and save it for someone else. But usually you'll just want to take the referral.
I think another important thing to know is the timing of how these offers get released. So usually there are 3 phases where an elevated offer will drop. Well, first there's a phase 0. You're going to look for rumors online about an elevated offer coming up. This usually leaks ahead of time. There's info about it, so you can sort of mentally prepare for it. Then you have phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is going to be branch. So Chase in-person, in-branch applications are going to go see the elevated offer go live there. And during that period of time, the elevated offer will not be available online yet. You do have to go in person to apply. Then about 1 and 2 weeks later, we enter phase 2, where you're going to have the public online offer, so applying directly on chase.com without a referral. And around the same time, affiliates will generally get access to the higher offer on your links. Then, and only then, finally, around 1 or 2 weeks after that second phase, will referrals have the updated link with the higher offer. So if you're in 2-player mode, or if you have a friend who wants to refer you and you can afford to sort of wait a bit longer, I would say generally don't fret about the offer going away because you're waiting for that referral. It will come just a few weeks after the branch and the public online offer drop. Does that make sense, Sean?
Yes, I should note this is mainly applicable to like the core cards like the CSP though. On the co-branded cards, we will see times when the referral offer is not the same as the public offer. Right, Sherwin? I mean, like some of the, for example, like the IHG card, I remember notoriously, I've always wanted to refer people to that. It's not even a great bonus on the referral side. But what happens is there'll be this great new offer, and then several weeks pass, and I try to refer with the IHG card, and it's like some weird random offer that's either like that's just objectively worse than the public offer. But for like the CSP, CSR, like, yes, that's the case. I don't even know. Does CSR still have a referral?
Yes, it does. So I would say 2 things to note here. So 1, what Sean said, it is correct. Sometimes the referral offer will be different for co-branded cards, and you should pay attention to that. That is correct. But also 2, even some co-branded cards follow this pattern. The Bonvoy Boundless is an example. Usually their standard offer is some number of points or 3 free night certificates. But then when they elevate the offer, usually about twice a year, to a 5 free night certificate offer, and these are 50K certificates, the public offer will be updated first, and then a week or 2 later, the referrals will follow. So, this pattern is most applicable to the core you are earning cards. I agree with that, but we do see that sometimes with the co-branded cards as well. Another thing to note is that we can expect the Sapphire Preferred offer to come every 1 to 1.5 years at this point from the last few years of data I've seen. But the Sapphire Reserve is a different story. My feeling is that Chase has given this card less of a push on the marketing side. We have still seen elevated offers a few times in the past few years, but they're much, much less frequent than the Sapphire Preferred, which I feel like Chase is trying to push out a lot. So if you're, sort of debating between the two cards and a really good preferred offer is available, but you might want the reserve later, you can always product change between the preferred and reserve after a year fairly easily. I would say, if I wanted the reserve, but the offer was much worse than the preferred, I'd rather get the preferred and then upgrade a year later than to take the worst reserve offer. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I think the reserve is not that great of a card where there's some like reason you need it up front. It's not like something where if we were talking about like Amex and the Hilton Aspire cards, there would be an argument where like let's say somehow like a Surpass card has a better offer. I would maybe say, you might still want to get the Aspire. But in this case, yeah, like I don't think the CSR is that like great of a card where it's like there's some like immediate need to get it. So yeah, I think getting the higher offer up front makes a lot more sense. And then just product changing later. You can even product change like the Freedom cards over to a reserve if assuming the Freedom card has enough credit line to where you'd be able to hit the minimum requirement. So for a Sapphire Preferred, that's $5,000, and for a Sapphire Reserve, that's $10,000. So let's say it's like, hey, you're opening a new Chase card. Should I get the Preferred and the Reserve? You're like, well, I want the Reserve, but the Preferred's got a better offer. You could just apply for the Preferred, get the nice offer, and then if you have like a Freedom sitting around with enough credit line, or even if your Freedom doesn't have enough credit line, you could transfer from another Chase card over, and then just have enough. As long as you have $10,000 on a Freedom for a credit line, you could then get a Sapphire Reserve just by product changing.
That's an excellent point. Do be aware that you can only get one Sapphire bonus every 48 months. So if you get a reserve bonus or preferred bonus, then you can't get either of those bonuses for 4 years. So just keep that in mind when you're planning your strategy. And that's also why, generally for the Sapphire Preferred, especially, I recommend people do not get the bonus unless it's elevated. It's pretty predictable at this point. It'll come every 1 to 1.5 years. So if you're able to wait, I think it's kind of a waste to take up a $60K offer. Do you agree, Sean?
I totally agree. I think, yeah, because it's so rare, because also like on other Chase cards, you can get the bonus more frequently. The fact that for the Sapphire Reserve or Sapphire Preferred, it's like 4 years is kind of insane. So I would definitely get it only on an elevated offer. Well, I want to add one correction to what I just said. I don't know if actually you can product change from a Freedom to a Sapphire Reserve if you are already holding a Sapphire card, because I know there's the one Sapphire rule. Do you know, does that apply to only cards that you are earning the bonus on? Or is that applicable to even holding the card?
I'm not 100% sure. Generally, Chase disfavors you having more than one Sapphire card at a time, and that's how their bonus is and approval criteria are structured. Like, they won't even approve you for a Sapphire card if you already have one at that time. Like, you could product change and stuff before your application, but at that time, you can't. So I don't know if there are loopholes around it, but I'm sure there are data points online. I want to run through a few other important things to know about co-branded cards. So Southwest will usually see elevated offers several times throughout the year. So do not get the standard offers, my opinion. Usually the biggest offers are near the end of the year, which is great because ideally you want to open these cards in November, December, hit the bonus around January, February, so that you can get Companion Pass. Now, sometimes they also give Companion Pass itself directly as a part of the sign-up bonus, but be careful about the period of time during which that Companion Pass is valid. It's going to be a different time frame from the standard rules of earning the Companion Pass through the credit cards. United, we also see elevated offers several times throughout the year. IHG also has elevated offers. The standard offer for Premier is $140K, which is not bad. I would totally get that offer. I think it's very reasonable. Sometimes we do see it go up to like 175K range, but with higher minimum spending requirement. A business card also sometimes goes up to around 200K. And be careful, sometimes the referral offers will contain an offer that consists of multiple free night certificates rather than number of points. So make sure you weigh which one is worth more to you. And remember, free nights expire, have caps. Also, this is a very small detail, but for IH free night certificates that you get on the anniversary of your cards, those you can top off beyond 40K points. So let's say I want to book something that's 50K, but the cert is 40K. I can add an extra 10K points to book that. But if you're getting free night certificates as part of your sign up offer in IHG, those are coded differently and you cannot top them off. So anything above 40K, you just can't use the certificate, period. This is a small detail, but can potentially have a huge impact on how you're able to use these certs. and I think more people should keep them in mind. Now, the Hyatt card, I think the bonus changes very infrequently. Unfortunately, most of the time it's this very mediocre. They mark it as a 60K bonus, but it's really more of a 45K bonus because that includes the points you're earning anyway by spending on the card. Sometimes they'll have a plus 5K points bonus, so it's 65K points instead. Not a huge difference, but the really good offer that I saw recently was 5 free night certificates that are category 1 through 4. I hope they bring that back again more frequently, but I wouldn't count on it just because they rarely change that bonus. And then Bonvoy Bandlist, I already mentioned, look for a 5 free night certificate, 50K free night certificate offer. Sean, did I miss anything?
I think you got it all very clear. Just a few thoughts on a few of those bonuses. For the Southwest one, I'd really recommend going for it on the high points offer as opposed to the companion pass offer. The reason being, there's kind of two reasons for this. One, if you time the end of year Southwest offer properly, you can get a full 2 year of companion pass if you're able to just meet that differential in points threshold you need, because usually it'll get you most of the way there. Maybe you need to open a second Southwest card or refer some people or whatever, but you can usually get that differential in points. And then as long as you start the points earning at the new year, you can get a full 2 years of companion pass as opposed to just a year of companion pass, right? Twice as good. The other thing is that when they have the like, oh, you earn companion pass offer, usually they vastly lower the amount of points you get with the offer. So it's really it's a weak offer in that sense. Whereas if I could get the high points offer, it's like, wow, I get companion pass longer and I get a lot more points. So that's kind of my opinion there. IHG one, yeah, I think the Biz 200K offer is really interesting. I think the personal like 175K offer is pretty interesting. I don't think, it's not quite like the massive jump that we see in some of these other elevated offers, but I still think it's pretty good. The Hyatt one, it's interesting because, as you said, it changes like never. And this was something I had been, I had heard a while back when I originally got the Hyatt card, people were rumoring that they were going to have this new offer. And then I ended up just applying for it anyways, because I was like so sick of waiting for it. And I'm so glad I did, because it didn't end up changing for like another 2 years. And then when it just changed, I was like so shocked that it had changed that I had 2 people in my family sign up for it. So we got like 10 certs off of it. That was a really good offer. I hope they bring that back. But yeah, pretty much agree with what you said there. I think, for the cards that have these infrequent like changes of elevated offers, those are the ones that when they do have an elevated offer, you really should like run and grab it, just because it's, pretty difficult otherwise to get those. I mean, people are waiting around for years for the Hyatt card to have a better offer.
Yeah, I do think it's a balance. So like the CSP offer we know is pretty recurring. So I tell people not to get that unless there's an elevated offer. But Hyatt card is a really good keeper card. If you've been eyeing that for a while and just really want it, I don't think it's the worst thing to apply for that standard offer just because of how infrequently that one shows up. So that's just kind of my thought process there. One other thing we should cover is what happens if you open the card and right after they elevate the offer and you missed out on it. Are you out of luck? Not necessarily. So some cards Chase will let you match to the newer offer, even if you signed up for a worse offer earlier, as long as you didn't sign up that long ago. So for Sapphire Preferred, for example, generally they will let you match. All you need to do is send a secure message with the offer you want that you're seeing, and then they'll respond back and generally give it to you. And that's pretty nice. I've also had success with this on IHG card, where I got the card right before they elevated the offer and they gave me the difference in the number of points, which is awesome. United, I have seen data points where it does not work, so you're stuck with the offer you got. Now, this also makes it very interesting when you think about the phases of the offer going live. As I mentioned earlier, public online offers, which are phase 2, will show up before referrals have the updated elevated offer, phase 3, usually 1 or 2 weeks apart. So if you really need that card in the middle and you want the referral, but also the higher bonus, I can't guarantee that this will work, but it's reasonably likely that you can use the referral to apply for the old offer, secure message them immediately. They'll bump you up to the higher offer and you also get the referral.
Yeah, really good point. I think it's a really interesting thing that they are pretty good about matching the offers. I mean, obviously it's your mileage may vary, but like compared to a bank like Amex, where Amex is just no, never, ever. Like that, the fact that it's even considered with Chase is actually, I think it's a pretty customer friendly practice, because I feel like, yes, you're having people that game it like us, but you also have a lot of people who are just your normal people that apply for a credit card and have no clue that the offer is about to go up. And when you apply for a Sapphire Preferred because your banker asks you to, and you have a 60,000 point offer, and then you find out next week it's 100,000 points, and it's like, it's like you're gonna piss off your customers if you don't match them. And so I think it's like a good practice that they do this, just even for the case of like not pissing off their normal non like credit card gaming customers.
Yeah. Cool. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode about our historical pattern analysis of Chase elevated offers. If you found this episode informative or useful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to open any credit cards, please consider using one of the links down in the description below. It greatly helps support the channel. And Sean, why don't you plug our Discord?
So if you want to connect with completely for free with an elite group of award travelers and credit card enthusiasts, check out the Traveling Discord at the link in the description. You will learn a ton, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.